like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customary tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Don't miss UBC Radio Ground Zero every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We host credible and relevant guests to discuss pertinent issues of national importance aimed at addressing people's concerns. UBC Radio Ground Zero, right here on UBC Radio.
Welcome to Ground Zero Season 2, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from politics, health, finance, sports, and so much more. Ground Zero Season 2. Welcome to Ground Zero.
Indeed, it is UBC Ground Zero, and we are here to inspire you, the people of Uganda. A very big welcome to all of us. And today we are looking at something very different and very significant. And I do have a privilege and honor to have the distinguished guests and partners and participants. It is my pleasure to welcome you, ladies, in today's edition. And we're going to look at something that is concerning most of us, whether you're male or female, young or old. And it is very important for us to continue inspiring the people of Uganda, especially the young generation.
Was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody should. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the customary tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Sorry for that technical issue, and we are glad that you are back and well, and I welcome you to this important edition of UBC Ground Zero. And today we are going to look at something very important, and we're honored to be joined by three distinguished guests that some are really known to us and the others are still new to the family, but we're glad that we're moving along the people of Uganda. Today we're looking at how best we can promote menstrual health and dignity in schools. If you are to see so many children that have been affected by this, and some are not even attending schools. Even those who are attending schools have issues, but would love to know how best we can come in as partners, as friends, as brothers and sisters, as mothers and parents, as everyone. We do have a very significant role to play in all our capacities, and today we look at what is the matter of public health. We look at the gender equality, we look at the education, we look at the human dignity across Uganda, across Africa, across East Africa, across the whole globe. As you know that next week we'll be joining the rest of the world to celebrate this important day, as the people in the studios are going to be helping us to inspire and also inform us about so many things about the D-Day. But we look at the many adolescent girls still face stigma, limited access to menstrual hygiene products, inadequate facilities, especially in schools, even absenteeism. Others have abandoned school, others are dropping of school, and all of which hinder the ability to learn and participate and even thrive in life. I'm being joined by a very special team of guests, very young, energetic, vibrant. The people these days, they call them vibe. They have vibe. The ladies that I have in the studios, if they start talking, you'd know that the kind of the people that I have and the team that I have been honored to have this very morning. Natkun Hope Mwiruka is the Executive Director at Rising Teenagers Uganda. Most welcome to this edition of Ground Zero.
Thank you so much. To correct the name, it's Nankunda. It is singular, not Natkunda.
Interesting. Yes. Thank you for that correction.
Yeah.
Interesting. We also have a privilege and honor to have Immaculate Owomujisha is the Executive Director, Center for Women Justice Uganda. A warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much, moderator, and we are glad they are hosting us today on this radio station.
Interesting. We also have a privilege to have Jacqueline Hope Wimbabazi is the Programs Manager coming from Concern for the Girl Child Uganda. Welcome to this edition of Ground Zero.
Thank you, Amon. Good to be here.
Interesting. Promoting menstrual health and dignity in schools is the direction that we are taking today in today's edition. We are live on 5 radio stations covering this program. In case you are in Kampala, we are 98.0 FM, that is on UBC Radio. And on the same radio, you can get us on 97.4 FM in Arua, 99.4 FM in Lira. And we're also live and clear on Butebo Radio covering all eastern parts of this country, and that is on Butebo Radio 96.9 FM in Mbare, 98.4 FM in Soroti, and we are also live and clear on Western Nile Radio, that is in the heart of Arua City, 98.0 FM, and that covers actually sub-region, Lango sub-region, Teso sub-region, Western Nile, and parts of Karamoja sub-regions. And we're also live and clear on Magic 100 FM, that covers all central parts of this country on 100 FM. And we're also live on UBC Voice of Vundbujo, that covers all western parts of this country, and also streaming live on YouTube. You just put UBC Ground Zero and you'll be part of the conversation. We always encourage you to share your perspectives, especially on this program and all our topics. And 0776 511 426 is the number you can always try to call or send your messages, and all your concerns will be addressed, especially in these programs and all other programs. And you can always put your comments on our YouTube channel or our socials, and we promise to always respond to those messages. If there are questions or queries, all my guests in the studios will always make sure to address all those concerns. If I may waste no time, we go direct into our topic today. I will start with the raising teenagers, and all of you, I do believe that you are in the same space but also doing something that perhaps different. We are talking about how best we can protect our girls, especially in schools, to have this menstrual health but also dignity in schools. We have had a number of girls drop out of school, others abstain when it is time for them to be in their periods. Some feel not comfortable to come through school, which affects in one way or the other, affects their learning, affects their attendance, affects their performance. As raising teenagers, how is this a concern? But first of all, if we all of you could give us your background, especially in your respective institutions that you represent on this program. Hope.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone listening in. I wish to share that I am a teacher by profession, and I do adolescent counseling as well. I no longer do active teaching because while I was teaching, it's when I realized that so many girls were missing school, some days every month, and they wouldn't give an explanation why they are leaving, not attending school. Sometimes when you would ask them and say, oh, my uncle was sick, my jaja was sick. But later when I just tried to do a one-on-one, I realized that actually the issue was menstruation. And this was not because they did not have sanitary pads, but because they were scared that even when they put them on, they could, by mistake, stain their dress and boys would laugh at them. So when we talk about menstrual hygiene, it's not about access. It's not about one being poor and the other one being rich. It's about supporting girls to actually embrace menstruation and know that this is part and parcel of womanhood and girlhood. So at Raising Teenagers, we take it upon ourselves to move to different schools and interact with as many girls as possible, listen to their challenges, but also support those that really need support to menstruate with dignity, but also address issues of embarrassment. And that is why we don't meet only girls, we meet boys as well, so that boys can understand that while they do not menstruate, that they also have a role to protect girls, not to embarrass them in case they stain their dresses, not to give them nicknames, not to make fun of them, because it is not easy to manage periods. And sometimes if it can be hard for the old people like us, you have issues. Sometimes these days change, you expect them to come today and they don't come. Then you're like, okay, when will they appear? And from nowhere, when you're not ready, there the visitor enters. Now imagine the young girl who is in class. So we try to educate boys and actually male teachers to understand that menstruation doesn't give warning. It can come anytime. Days change for girls, and we try to educate them to embrace this issue and take it personal, so that every girl who needs that support at that minute is able to receive that kind of support. So we try to educate communities and schools to ensure that every girl is safe at school, whether they are menstruating or not. Thank you.
Interesting. I come to you, Jacqueline Wimbabazi, and concern for girl child. I don't know whether you're doing different from what Raising Teenagers are, but what is your experience and background, and what does concern for girl child do in this country?
Thank you, Amon. Looks like you have teachers this morning. Jacqueline Hope Wimbabazi also has a background of teaching. Allow me say that for the past 25 years, Concern for the Girl Child delights in having walked a journey of supporting the girl child in Uganda. Our areas of operation are Nakawa Division, Nakaseke District, Luwero District, and Nakasongola District. Our core program area is education. And while implementing education, we realized there are certain things we cannot do away with. So we equally implement SRH and WASH program, where we engage schools, we train teachers, we talk to boys to embrace, just like my colleague Hope said, to embrace this, to stop the stigma. It is not an ugly thing. And then we empower the girls. Meet a CGC girl, CGC is Concerned for the Girl Child. Meet that girl that has been walking this journey with us. They'll be able to say, no shame in my flow. And every girl deserves to know that. So we have peer educators within schools, and they rigorously do their job to empower the girl to come out and be able to start the talk. These days, it's unfortunate that these days, these periods come as early as 8 years. So parents are still in the mix of...
8 years?
Yes, please. Parents are still in the mix of, at what age should I start? So we have been deliberate in that area at CGC to also educate the parents to start these talks as early as possible. We work with government because we know government has equally done a lot to make sure that they engage on menstrual hygiene management. We work with in partnership with different CSOs where we cannot reach, they surely do. And for us, that is our power at CGC. But also not forgetting that the community leaders are part of this. So we do not work in isolation. We work with all these teams to make sure that the girl child can ably say, no shame in my flow. Every girl deserves to know.
Interesting. Thank you so very much. I am learning, I've already started learning that even at 8 years, someone or that young girl can start. And indeed, it is a call to all of us, especially parents, to start the story as soon as possible. I come to you, Immaculate, and Justice for Women, Uganda. What is your background, and how are you helping women? We've been talking about girls. I don't know whether you are too much into girls or you wait for them to be old and then you start from there. Welcome.
Yes, thank you so much, Amon. And Justice, our work really rotates around gender and health. And gender means that we are looking at women in our diversity, but also you can't talk about a woman without talking about a girl. So from a girl to a woman, it is all our concern. So our work rotates around women and girls. And we join the conversation this month around menstrual hygiene because for us it is a health concern. It's a health issue, and we've seen, someone already mentioned, that indeed someone in menstrual hygiene needs to be dignified. So dignity comes from the human rights perspective. We are talking about equality, we are talking about dignity, we are talking about non-discrimination, and we want the school to be that space that is safe for every girl to attend school in a dignified manner, but also to not to be discriminated when that time comes. And we are also pushing that this is not an issue that, and from the health perspective, we are asking as well government to look at it as a key issue that needs key attention if we are to say that we are promoting health for all, we are promoting education for all, but at the same time we look at it as a justice issue, that menstrual hygiene shouldn't just be looked at as any biological issue that a woman goes through, a girl goes through, but it is a justice issue that needs attention to ensure that everyone is accorded the same space in a dignified and in a more respectful manner, no matter the time of the month that the girl is going through. So for us at Center for Women Justice, this month we are saying that we are going to drive this change with the communities, and we are going to be in a community in Wakiso called Kasengeje, and interestingly the communities are the ones driving it. So the parents, the neighbors, the local leaders, and the church and religious leaders are joining one of the local schools in Kasengeje called Kasengeje Primary School to put a box that we are calling an emergency box, that if a girl is in school, or if the girl knows that tomorrow I'm likely, because these days girls are able to tell that, between this period to this period, I'll be going into my menstrual hygiene. There is an emergency corner where someone can run to and pick a box. And communities are going to drive that initiative. They've done their community resource mobilization to buy the pads and have them available. So again, pushing for the justice for all, pushing for health for all, being that health is not just a health medical condition, but it is a justice issue that every girl, every woman should access. Yeah, over to you.
Interesting. I am glad that from the teachers that you come from a different discipline, and I'm wondering from a legal and rights perspective, how should we, all the stakeholders, ensure that menstrual health is framed in Uganda's education and public policy?
Yeah, so that's the advocacy we've been pushing, and if we've been able to follow sometimes the conversation around taxes, we've been pushing to ensure that we reduce taxes on the pads, and also we've been pushing that can we have sanitary pads available in schools, because if government can invest, for example, in condoms for every boy to ensure that we are preventing HIV for all, and that is something that you can easily say that, you control it. But menstrual hygiene, menstrual health is not controllable. We are requesting government to have equal interest.
We have that public policy gap.
Yes, there's a public health gap that we need to ensure that everything across the health of a human being, whether a boy child or a girl child, should equally be given attention. And what we need is government to have that small budget that goes to Ministry of Education that is going to look into the health of girls while in school. And health, we are looking specifically at the menstrual hygiene. Let at least every school be given a box of pads every time term opens, that they are there for emergency. They may not be able to give every child that goes in school, but a school should be able to have emergency boxes without depending on different partners. You don't have to wait for concern to come to school and say we have these resources where we need to give you some pads. No, let Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, working closely with Ministry of Health, have that specific budget that is looking at the health of girls, especially for the menstrual hygiene while in school.
Interesting. I come back to you, Hope. I have Hope, Jacqueline. I have Hope. For Jacqueline, I'll be using Jacqueline, and Hope, and Ankonda, I'll be using Hope. Interesting. Looking at your efforts, and also the Immaculate says that we have that policy gap and so very many others. I am wondering also how you're integrating this healthy or menstrual health education into a broader sexual or reproductive health programs for teenagers, because you realize that once girls hit that age or that stage, they are at risk of getting pregnant at any time. And I don't know what are your efforts, or what do you encourage these girls when you see them, especially to be much vigilant, and also empower them to be able to differentiate that this age is not a joking stage.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that is true, that many times we forget to talk about the connection between menstruation and pregnancy. And of course, it would be good if this information was coming to parents at home. As soon as this girl starts their periods, it would be good for a parent to sit her down and say, look here, now you are no longer a baby. If you messed up your life today and slept with boys around, you could actually become a mother. If girls listen to those words from their parents at the age of 9, 10, 11, they stick, those words stick. And sometimes parents are scared to talk about these issues. I know my friend Jacqueline has said that some girls begin at 8, which is true, but a parent is still considering, my girl is still a baby. We can't talk about this now. Let me wait for 12. And by the time you reach 12, you get shocked, because these girls, while they are our children, they also have a way of closing in if you don't open up for them to talk to you. So imagine this girl is scared to tell you that she started her periods already and runs to their friends. And friends share different information on how to manage period pain. When you talk about menstruation, it's a lot that is covered. So there are girls who believe that if you sleep with a boy, you will not get period pain. So if a friend of your child tells them that their next best option to look out for someone to sleep with them, to have sex. So do we need that? No. We need to give these children the right information. That even if you slept with 20 men and boys, if your periods are going to be painful, the pain will not go. Can we help girls to understand how to manage period pain? But also, can they know that sleeping around with men means that they could become mothers at a very young age? So at Raising Teenagers, we are intentional about involving parents in these conversations. So we hold parent seminars where we really talk to parents about how to talk to their children. Now, you can imagine teaching a parent how to parent. It's quite some work. And we are happy that some parents have come back to us and actually appreciate and said, you have taught us how to speak to our girls. Some of these parents become parents when they are not ready, So asking them to actually do their roles is hard work. So we involve parents in these conversations, but also involves girls directly, because at the end of the day, when you mess up your life, it is your life, it is your body. You're the one getting pregnant, you're the one messing up your life. So we establish clubs in schools where we bring these young girls together and give them the real information and remind them that periods are normal and part of life. But also periods are experienced differently. I could spend 5 days in my periods, but maybe my sister would be spending 3 and the other one spending 2 days. So we don't want girls to believe that if you are spending more days, you are not loved by God. God did not, you made a mistake, was been given actually set aside to spend in their periods, and teach them that this is going to go for a period about 30 years, doing that every month, so that they are able to appreciate that they have a role to play in protecting themselves, but also know that engaging in sexual activity with students at school, with neighbors at home, and even sexual violence that is happening online. There are some of the girls who are being abused online, through social media, and they make those programs and they meet men that they have never seen, and they end up sleeping out with these people. We teach these girls the dangers associated, but also how they can control themselves and also be able to teach fellow girls, so that this message doesn't stop only on those we reach out to, but it multiplies to even other communities where we can't reach physically.
Interesting. Jacqueline, how can we best empower our children, especially the girls, to be excited, to be empowered, to love themselves? Hope raises something very interesting about them expressing themselves, but realizing that this is how they were created by God, and they really must embrace and love it. I remember when we were growing up as boys, we couldn't wait for us to have some beards, and every time they would cut our hair, would go get something and we put it there, and we put this hair that has been cut just around our cheeks, and you'd be proud. You couldn't wait for that moment to have beards, and you called a man. How then can we reverse this and go back to our children, and the girl is excited, I can't wait to be there, and I'm powerful, I am grown up, I am respected, I am loved, I am empowered, only them to find themselves that they have started on this journey and start cursing, lose their morale? How best can we empower them?
Oh, thank you, Amon. Allow me first do a flashback. I seek clarity from Ime. You talked about provision of condoms. Kindly specify what age bracket you're advocating for. I also forgot to mention that Jacqueline Hope Mbabazi is a children's church teacher, and allow me bring in a little of my experience in that space. I coordinate children's church at Namgongo Matters Church of Uganda. Actually, today it is the Provincial Children's Day celebrating matters.
Interesting.
It's happening today and right around now. But
is menstrual health and hygiene feature in your programs, especially at church?
Yes, it is. And our children at church, this is what we tell them. There is this scripture they have offhead, 1 Corinthians 6:19-20. And we keep asking them, do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit who is in you? Now, we keep reminding them, there's no way you can carry your body around without remembering that you're carrying the Holy Spirit within you. So for us, our approach to pregnancy and the likes of those, it is more of fear you must have fear to distort the nature of your body. Your body is the temple of the Lord, as compared to fear pregnancy. For us, our approach is, can you keep pure? And we tell our children that until daddy walks you down the aisle and hands you over, and they eagerly look forward to that day. So from that side, in addition to the talks they get from school, our children at Children's Church also know that I must keep pure until then. So pregnancy issues are managed that way. But also, like I said earlier on, at CGC, we do peer, we have peer educators. How do the peer educators do this? They have clubs at school that empower fellow girls, but also we do podcasts where they joyfully talk about periods. And the more you do this, the more you pound this into the heads of the teenagers, the better it becomes, the more beautiful it sounds, the more easily associated with it becomes. So for us at Concern for the Girls, freely tell their parents, freely tell us staff at CGC that things have happened, and this is what I am going through. I want to say we should engage a lot of these talks on social media platforms, because these platforms have swept across the teenagers. So as CSOs, we usually engage in so much of that. My colleague here, Hope, is very good at that. She will popularize this, and it will go viral. So we usually do this as CSOs, and the girls get to love their period.
You bring in something different but also important, social media or new media, where all of us, I think here, we are embracing, and it has cut across even the teenagers, even children. I have seen in so many spaces and families where a child, instead of crying, you would give him or her a gadget, you'd put on TV, you'll give them their phones, and others are even owning their own gadgets. You even remember to buy data for them. As parents or people that you are dealing with children, a very sensitive group of humans, and also dealing with parents, should we allow our children to freely use these gadgets?
Amon, there are restrictions you can put in the gadget for that child. There are certain sites you can block. Parents, kindly empower yourself. I know on Google Play Store you can easily block.
But the guys, the kind of group we're dealing with are much equipped with the skills.
They challenge us better. You're right. But as
there
a
are things
parent,
that I don't know in my phone, but a kid can say, no, you can get them from here. You can block this and then block that. We are dealing with a very sensitive generation.
True. Amon, I'm not going to sleep because the kids are beating me at that game. I will supervise them, but also instill.
So we should allow, for your case, we should allow them to use the gadgets.
If supervised. But also instill values and virtues in them.
I'll get Hope and also Immaculate, but Immaculate first, and then Hope you will come in, especially on the use of gadgets by our teens. Isn't this where they learn bad manners because of what they access? And sometimes we are not even around. And I've seen also, you're right, Jacqueline, that we can block these other sites. But I've more often seen where I'm on a certain website or even enjoying some movie or something using my gadget, and some unnecessary ads pop up, which are sometimes very sensitive and crazy. Immaculate on that.
So thank you, Amon. Before I answer that, let me start with clarifying, I think, the point Jacqueline
about the condoms.
Yes,
and
the condoms.
All right.
So the context in which I spoke about condoms is not necessarily to have condoms in schools, but for purposes of budgeting and planning at government level, when we are planning for such issues like condoms, because they are available in facilities, they are available in other spaces. We have dispensers in our offices and in other public spaces where people go for pleasure. Our call is that government should pay keen attention to sanitary pads as well, that when they are budgeting, especially for schools, let us have a supplementary budget, a small budget that covers emergencies for pads in school. Every school, government owned, should have a box for emergencies for sanitary pads for girls. So I hope that clarifies the confusion it could have created.
Okay.
So I come to the technology and innovations and gadgets and everything that we are exposed with, which for me it is something we can not do away with. Looking at the new curriculum right now, kids are asked to do research. They are asked to use these gadgets to conduct, to study, because we use that space, online space, for equally studying and knowledge enhancement. So I think I agree with Jacqueline that children can access gadgets, but let them be controlled. But also we need, as parents, we need to be aware of the age appropriate. The content I allow for my 12-year boy, I have 2 boys, 12 and 6 years, definitely has to be different. And we've sat and had a conversation, me and the children and their father, that what the 12-year boy is going to access shouldn't be the same as the 4-year or 6-year-old boy. So if this one is using it for study, for research, with these days we take them to learn coding. They are very innovative. They are doing websites. Should not be the same for this one who needs only to access some kind of entertainment, conversations in cartoons, more baby cartoons, singing songs. So yeah, let children be allowed to access, but let it be controlled. And
Okay.
control means parents need to be present. We need to be present in the children's lives to know.
But
what
you
is
understand,
going on.
we have also to look for what to do and provide for them. We can't be available all the time. And by the
present
time
is
you
not
allow
being
them to
physical.
access, that means that it is going to be something that is forever.
Yeah.
I want to come in on the issue of access. It is quite a technical issue because there are things that really go beyond our control. And the least we can do is to provide information. You will allow your child who is 8 years to access cartoons and whichever regulated area to watch. And sometimes when they're in your presence, they'll show you that that's what they are watching. But sometimes when we are not there, they could actually want to come through. I think it's important that, one, we instill values in our children. You know, when you talk to your child and educate them about the dangers they could find on particular sites, this information that is given to them doesn't just fly away. Even if a lot flies away, there is some that remains. And every time they're about to hit that link, that voice will appear and say, Mommy told me this. Daddy told me this. And that is what I want to challenge parents to do. That get your children down, tell them the wrong that they could find online, and tell them the good that actually could be found online, because there is actually also a lot of good that could be found online. So that this child can be able to know that I can access this information, but because of what Daddy told me and what Mommy told me, I will not go there. To the extent that even when their friends are saying, now Mommy is not here, Mommy is at home, we are in boarding school, that instinct will still come to your child and she'll say, no, I am not part of this. So unless we just choose to deliberately have conversations with young people and educate them that pornography is wrong. And why is it wrong? Don't just say it's wrong and then you go away. That is not, you've not explained, because otherwise they'll go to look for why you think it is wrong, you know? So we need to teach them that actually the pornography they watch, one, the people who are playing, they're actually earning, they are doing it for their own reasons. It affects their brain. Sometimes when a child is, during my counseling, as I do counseling for adolescents, I've dealt with children who are addicted to pornography. And they'll tell you, Auntie Hope, sometimes when I'm in class, I feel I have to lie to the teacher and run to the computer lab, you know? Because this is what they watch at home. Every time they are free, that's where they run to. So the brain is tuned that this is their kind of life. So if a parent doesn't sit down and say, look here, addiction is wrong and it could affect you in 1, 2, 3, 4 ways, this child will actually stay like that for a longer time. So let us invest more time in educating the children about the wrong and the good, so that even when they have these gadgets, they could actually use them to do the good. And there's a lot of good online. And many young people are actually doing great things online and earning money sometimes because they are intentional. So let us invest in time to talk to the children, educate them about how they can even report. Because there's like I told you before, there's a lot of sexual abuse. There are guys who put profiles and they put those pictures of young boys. And this girl is just running mad all over the house because they think they have a boyfriend online who is giving them data, who is giving them, sending them cafe javas at home, and the parent is not even aware. So my information goes to the child that the person you are actually dildaling with could be a serial killer. And the next time you meet them, it could be the end of your life. So stay away from strangers online. And if someone is trying to force you into any way, just block them. Use the word block on the phone. It works. So let's encourage these children that even when they have access to these gadgets, they can use them in the right way. They can research and do great things. They can actually excel in so many different spheres using the social media. But education is all we need.
What is the impact? What is the more good compared to the bad?
For those who have found out the good in the social media, you will realize that actually they are excelling. There are children who are actually getting scholarships on their own without the parents involved. And they just come home and say, Mommy, I applied for this and this is what they asked me to write. I've written and I'm done and here I am. There are those who are doing lessons, art and craft. There are people who are doing, for example, tailoring, and no one taught them. They just went to YouTube and did those videos of learning, teaching themselves on YouTube on how to do tailoring, on how to do cookery, bakery. People are doing cakes, not because someone taught them, but because they were intentional and reached out to social media on how to learn particular things. So if we have those success stories, maybe you could also invest in bringing some of those to these shows so that someone can hear that a person who is actually excelling in making money in making gowns for Bagole taught herself on YouTube. So a child who is stuck with their social media and doesn't know how to actually make use of it could actually say, there's someone who said this, let me try it out. So we need to actually be intentional on that.
Should we allow them to use and access, hold, own these gadgets?
It's a quite complicated question because COVID came and spoiled things. You know, when COVID came, then all the schools took advantage of, I'm sending holiday work online. You know, if you don't have a phone, there's this assignment, you're going to miss it out. And people took advantage of that. But for me as an individual, personally, I would love a child to get a phone at the age of 18.
Thank you.
That's the best. But we must not run away from the fact that people use the excuse of COVID, even schools, institutions of learning. They tell you, a child of P5, that I've sent work online. What's that? When did we get there? Why can't a teacher prepare work, give it to a child, go home, write your work, bring and submit?
I've also seen some children requesting for phones to talk to their teachers.
Can I share an experience?
So it's crazy.
In our education programming, we realize that our parents, CGC deals with the most vulnerable communities. So the girls on our education program for sponsorship come from those very, very vulnerable families. So it came out as a concern from the parents. These kids are witty, like you said, Amon. So they came up with these lies of schools, we must have phones, schools, and it was spreading in a very dangerous way, like a wildfire. And so we said, no, let us engage the teachers, let us see what the Ministry of Education has to say about this. Do you know that the Ministry of Education said no phones in schools? And then the teachers said, no, we don't accept phones in school. We have computer labs which are equipped with internet. If children want to do research of any kind, let them come. So our parents, the burden was laid off our parents, our caregivers. These kids can craft any lies to make sure they have their own.
Yeah, true. Interesting. I want us also to turn our interest and also direction to face the role of institutions in promoting menstrual health, but also dignity in schools. Where should they come in and where should they not? We, the parents, have been blaming so much of the parents. This is our role. We can do A, B, C, D. But remember, as parents, we spend the least time with these children. Most of the time they spend with the at school. You can count how many holidays they have had, and they can't all in a year, them to even 90 days. They are always there for 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and meaning much of their time, 2/3 of their time is at school. So you'd realize that they have a big role to play. Immaculate has already told us about creating space corners, but also what else can schools do?
Thank you, Amon. For the past 25 years, allow me say we have supported on our education program 1,385 girls through scholarship. Now, we come on board with a voice to say we have experienced this, we have touched them on ground, and we have felt them. Allow me to appreciate the government of Uganda. For example, they incorporated menstrual hygiene information in the curriculum right from lower secondary, so the girls get to know, the children get to know in there. There is male involvement done, and the boys are becoming champions for positivity around this subject. And allow me say that my friend here talked about the government reducing taxes and maybe providing free sanitary towels. I remember His Excellency, I usually call him Uncle, His Excellency promised to give us free pads, but just this year early, the Speaker of Parliament came out and said, now, because of the budget, we cannot, it's constrained. It's a plea to the government, and kindly do not quote me wrong, that if we can prioritize, this money can be found. If at all we can put huge amounts into security, huge amounts into state house management, huge amounts into those other budgets. If we choose to do priority risks, priority tests, we can surely prioritize and have these menstrual hygiene kits offered. Of course, at CGC, we pride in this year alone offering over 1,700 girls with menstrual hygiene kits within schools, and we are deliberate on this. But it doesn't come so easily. We have crafted different measures, ways of seeing how best can we keep this, how can we sustain this. At this point, Amon, allow me to appreciate our partners that have given us spaces to place our donation boxes. Some of you could have moved into supermarkets and seen CGC donation boxes. All the proceeds from that go into supporting this number of girls access menstrual hygiene kits. And we are deliberate on that at CGC, and we are going to pursue this until the government comes to a realization that actually it can be possible. I know different CSOs are doing the same to make sure they offer through maybe reusable sanitary towels. There is that drive that has come in, and people are training people to make reusables. They are distributing them. For us as CSOs, we shall not keep quiet even when government thinks there is no budget. Thank you.
True. That indeed you need to remain vigilant even when the majority are keeping quiet about it. I come to Immaculate about the thing of others. We look at there is a section of people outside there, single fathers raising girls. How best can they handle this? I have my young girl, and time has come when she's entering into this stage what should I do in this situation as a father, as a male, to support my child instead of running to my neighbors? Instead, how best should fathers of that sort be able to address this?
Yeah, so thank you, and for asking that question. And it draws my mind back to a few weeks. I was having a conversation with one of a prominent honorable member of parliament, and we were having a conversation on menstrual hygiene, and he confesses that in his life he has never had a difficult question to discuss with the daughter until the day he had gone to pick that daughter from school, and along the way the daughter told him, "Daddy, stop the car, I think it is that time." That's how the daughter tells the dad, and he's like, "What time?" Then the daughter looks at him and says, "Daddy, I've said it's that time, I feel wet things." And he says he got confused, he trembled, he did not know what to do. All that could come in his mind was pick the phone, call the mother, and ask the mother what to do. And the mother was like, "But it is easy, run to the next shop, get something, prepare him, prepare her, take her to the washrooms in a public place, find a way where she can be comfortable." And then they drive to a pharmacy, then walking in and asking for a pad was again another struggle. So what does that tell us? It tells us that maybe the men out there don't have adequate information on how to support the girls, their daughters. And I think that the important role now, as we talk about men engage, because Jacqueline talked about it, we need to engage the men more in the menstrual hygiene discussion. Even when their mothers are not there. Like you said, we have so many single fathers who are men and fathers of daughters. How prepared are they? Do they even know that this period comes at this age? Or they keep looking, oh, now the breasts have come, what next is going to come? So men engage is very critical, that let's go, and again, all of us as actors, whether civil society, whether the community, but also the men to show that interest. In homes, I'm a mother of boys, so I may not speak so much for the girls, but for mothers who are mothers to the girls, that role is completely left to the mother. The father is not interested to know, I need even to buy pads. When they go in a supermarket to shop, you will shop sugar, you buy beans, posho, but can you pick a packet of pad every month in the house? If you're a father of a girl, but also if you're a husband to a woman, then there should be a packet of pad in the house. So that making it very intentional and engaging, and them our dear men showing interest in this conversation is very important. Interesting.
Immaculate, you bring in something that men are not so very much equipped and also empowered. Sometimes they don't know even. And hope I come to you. If men are very much comfortable walking to a pharmacy or a supermarket and they are able to pay for a condom, why does it become so difficult for them to buy sanitary towels for their mothers, sanitary towels for their wives, or even for their daughters? Where is the missing link?
I want to start with the statement of men are not interested. I want to say that actually it's not all men. There are men who are actually doing great in supporting daughters.
Thank you.
They shop for them. Mm-hmm. There are some daughters who actually are comfortable speaking to their fathers about these issues, and these men will go and buy sanitary pads. So I really want to give credit to men who are doing it, because when we sit here and say men are not interested, we could get in trouble. Mm-hmm. My husband buys sanitary pads for our girls. I'm a mother of daughters, 3 of them, and all of them are already menstruating. But sometimes, even when I'm not home, they will not find any problem telling him, "Daddy, please get for me sanitary pads. And he will go pick them and bring them home. And there are many other men that I know, even in our own circles, those champions who are actually running the campaign to end menstrual stigma.
What is your message for those that have not yet reached that stage or have not yet been empowered to be able to walk in freely and confidently, buy sanitary towels for their wives, their children, or even their mothers?
So my message to those is that empowerment starts from within. Actually, no one can come to you, Amon, and tell you, please, tomorrow, like, hold yourself together, go to a supermarket and buy sanitary pads. It doesn't work that way. I need men to understand that whatever we do, we put our heart to it. So you choose to say, I am going to walk a journey of supporting my daughters to menstruate with dignity. What does this mean? If a shopping list has come and you actually don't see sanitary pads, you are able to call her and say, I think you forgot something. Where are the pads? Because some girls would fear to write them on the list because it's the daddy going to shop. So can you take it upon yourself to even prove to your daughter that you can talk about this without fear and say, hey, look here, I think you forgot this. How many packs can I bring? Or even if they have not put them, you go and shock them. Pick those sanitary pads, put them on the counter, pay for them, and bring them to your daughter. Because sometimes it starts with action. If you don't make a step to start today, then starting will be a difficult issue. And when you start, you will not stop. So my word is to encourage men. For the boys that we work with, we've already educated them and said, hey, look here, you need to do this. Your sisters menstruate, your cousins menstruate, your mother menstruates. So you have to appreciate that this is part and parcel of life. So let us encourage men out there that we shall not call you for a meeting and say, look here, you actually need to buy pads. No, we are just saying, just put it within your heart and look at how a father is supposed to actually care for their children wholeheartedly, meaning that if you can buy children cornflakes and those play toys and everything, even periods is part and parcel. And it's the most important. Dear gentlemen, imagine you walking in the road and from nowhere blood is and say, I won't allow my girl to feel the stigma. I won't allow my girl to feel the embarrassment. So whatever she wants, I'll make sure that she gets. But number one priority, sanitary pads and knickers. Thank you.
Interesting. Before I take a break, I will bring you in, Jacqueline, and then we go for a break. And when I return, I'll be picking calls and also reading some messages. Jacqueline?
Thank you, Amon. From my box of experience, allow me talk to the male parents that have a challenge with this. There is a course that I am soon completing on evidence-based parenting design, program designs, evidence-based. This is by Dr. Siu at Makerere University. I'll be graduating soon. You can enroll in for that course, and it is very rich. There are very many programs designed for male engagement, and Dr. Siu has this program where it is about parenting for respectability. It is a very good model and it works. The men will come on board. How we do it at CGC, we work with partners like I earlier on said. We have Women Pro Bono Initiative. We have had engagements in our catchment area of Luwero where we have done campaigns, engaged leaders, policymakers on how best can we engage the male in this issue of girl-child issues of menstrual hygiene, gender-based violence, and the like. But allow me share an experience as well. I got embarrassed. For over 2 years, I had my children in this particular school. So we walked a journey the whole year of going to school and visiting and returning. So in the second year, while on one of the VDs, I get the report for the child. I was shocked, friends. I was shocked. I realized that my husband had been signing against the report, the children's report, for the past so many months, for the past year, the entire year. The report had only my husband's signature. And you know what this means to the child? Parent engagement, male parent engagement in their lives. trust me, I felt betrayed somehow. Like, how can you go behind my back, Mr. Wembawazi, and personalize these things? How do you sign a loan? But of course, I want to say kudos to him for embracing male involvement in parenting. Thank you.
Interesting. Thank you so very much. I'm taking a very short break and I'm returning in just a bit. And when I come back, I'll be reading your messages and also picking your calls on 0776 511 426. Tell us what you think needs to be done to promote menstrual health but also dignity in schools. This is UBC Ground Zero and I'm coming back in just a bit. I pray you don't go away.
Season 2. Stay tuned. We shall be right back. It's hot.
We busted. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody should. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the custodial tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
UBC Radio brings to you the Timeline Radio Show, the space for civic and political rights for Ugandans. Tune in every Monday night at 10:15 p.m. to know your obligation in society as a citizen. UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
UBC Radio Network, your national preferred choice. We broadcast all over Uganda and beyond. Join us on 98 FM in Kampala, 99.4 FM Lira, and 97.4 FM Arua. UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
Music on UBC Radio.
The hits just keep on coming.
If you want to touch my body,
More hits on UBC Radio.
Your music.
On UBC Radio, we play music of your choice day in, day out.
We got more hits for you, so stay tuned.
At UBC Radio, all our radio network across the country is committed to inform, entertain, educate and guide for national transformation.
Our own radio, UBC, should set its own example. Leka bano abatafa ku bantu baffe bagumaza ndowooza Muganda kiyitibwa kugumaza, to divert people. Let our own UBC bring programs to educate the people so that abagala kugumaza babeereyo bagumaza naye naffe they can advise, guide. And people in time will judge the one who is their friend and who is just using them.
Tune into UBC Radios for credible socio-economic programs. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Your Voice Talk Show.
The biggest concern now is the quality of education. That is what is bothering us so much.
Addressing Uganda's governance issues.
Incidentally, there is now a new trend. There is more land wrangles in families than Vivanja land title holders.
Monday to Friday at 7 p.m.
With this integration of East African community, we must work hard so that we benefit.
Your Voice Talk Show, only on UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
Welcome back. Ground Zero Season 2 continues.
Welcome back from that very short break. This is UBC Ground Zero and we are live on 5 radio stations covering this program. We are on UBC Radio on 98.0 FM. We are on Butebo Radio in Eastern Uganda, West Nile Radio in the heart of Arua City, Voice of Butebo and also Magic 100 FM. And we're also streaming live on YouTube. You just put UBC Ground Zero and you'll be part of the conversation. We are discussing promoting menstrual health and dignity in schools, and we are privileged to have Immaculate Womugisha is the Executive Director coming from Center for Women Justice Uganda. Nankunda Hope Mwiruka is the Executive Director, Raising Teenagers Uganda, and Jacqueline Hope Wembabazi is the Programs Manager coming from Concern for Girl Child Uganda. Ampaire Amon Buteega is my name, and this is the right time that you share your perspectives, you share your concerns, you share your ideas on what you think we need to do as a country, we need to do all the other stakeholders to ensure that we promote menstrual health and dignity in schools. 776-511-426 is the number you can call and share your perspectives. If I'm start with messages coming through from the listeners on the other side of radio, someone is I am innocent, and when it comes to promoting menstrual health, I think it is so much to do with parents and also teachers, but the teachers have a big role to play because sometimes the children spend much time on schools, and by the time they return, even they went when they are kids, they return when they are adults. You'd find that they menstruate from school most of the times, so the teachers have a big role to play. You're live on radio.
You too, you're live at Buteega roundabout. You're talking to Juma from Buteega here.
Thank you so very much, sir.
Welcome. Mental health, sometimes I see that government could add more school for psychiatry, because we have very few psychiatry departments which end up by not giving enough society to get that services. And we have very few health rehabilitation centers where can accommodate the population. So how about if maybe the government could adopt it and add more resources, and at least we have that service which we are deserved. Then poverty rate is the economy of Uganda nowadays. It's like those who are rich, they will go richer, and those who are poor, some of us will die poorer because of the mindset. And also when they're accumulated into one's brain, without having that good counselors near you, you can go berserk mentally. The way the country is running businesses, you put your small scale business, the tax after tax, they are coming, the licenses are coming, the smugglers are coming. At the end of the day, you will find that you are being left naked. So if we have those psychiatrist teams, including their counselors, and the government should use radio like UBC up to up country to sensitize the nation. Let them inject more money for using radio, because radio reach very fast. Doesn't need any data, so long as you have tuned the station which is on the project. Like other we are having, we hear them on radio, UBC always. Amon, allow me to sign out. I thank you so much.
Most welcome, sir. Thank you so very much, sir. Jimmy, they are part of the UBC family in Buteega there. Always proud of you. Juma. Interesting. So very many messages coming through. So you always call on 776-511-426. That was Innocent, the message I read. And Simon Sintongo, you say that I think it is government should also do their best to make sure that sanitary pads are available in schools as it for free as a policy. If they can provide other scholastic materials, then they should also provide for sanitary towels for our children. That is Simon Sentongo. Porota says we are talking about sanitary pads, but you'd realize that this is the talk for schools in urban centers. If you are to be in schools in rural settings, you'd be surprised, Amon. People are using leaves, others are using clothes, and others don't use anything. That's how girls drop out of school, because they don't not only fear to be ashamed, but they fear to construct some diseases because of the poor menstrual hygiene. Thank you, Poroti. Kansime says it is still a challenge for single fathers to raise girls, but it is high time that they know the situation they are in and be able to equip themselves with skills on raising girl children. Because when we talk about raising girls, menstrual health and talk should be a priority. Okay, someone says, I want to thank the ladies in the studios for availing this kind of information. It is really helping generations. I wish we can have this talk than the politics that we are tired of. This is the talk that Ugandans need, because people are suffering outside there. Okay. What are some of the diseases that emanate from menstrual health and hygiene, if not ask for any diseases that may come from not taking care of your menstrual health or hygiene? Okay. You're live on radio? UBC? Sorry, you can call again on 776-511-426 and be able to go through again. What message do you have for the newcomers, especially for the first timers who are listening to you? As a parent, I may not be available in the time she gets her first time menstrual, but she needs to be equipped on what to do. If you can use this platform to educate for those who may not be able on what first and what to do first, especially when they reach there. Teachers, policies, and parents. Okay, someone is asking, I'm also having issues with the boys. I am a mother of boys. What should I tell them about menstrual health, or it is nothing to do with them? Because I realize that they have been conversing with the girls in my neighborhood. I want to raise respectful boys. Okay, interesting. I'm going back to the studio. I don't know why calls are dropping, but keep on calling 776-511-426 and I'll be able to share and also pick and you share your concerns. I go back to the studios for the ladies to address some of these concerns, and start with you, Immaculate. Someone has a concern here, and you also proudly say that you're raising boys, and someone is in the same shoes that you're at. Do boys also need to hear about menstrual health, or it is some talk that they would not love to entertain in their ears?
Thank you, and thank you to all the listeners that have sent in their feedback, messages, compliments. So I'll start with the question there. For us as parents, it is a role of everyone. And for our parents of boys, the conversation needs to start as early as we start other conversations in family. When we are talking about how to take care of their bodies, how to bathe, so we need to start these conversations with boys, that even when you're in school.
If you may borrow me a minute. Hello? Okay, calls keep dropping. I think I will address that later.
Okay, sorry about that. So yes, the conversations need to start as early as we start the conversations of taking care of their bodies, whether you're a boy, whether you're a girl. But for boys, for a boy child, we have to start conversations of talking about respecting other children, respecting girls, and how to support them when they are challenged. So if my boy is in school and the girl who is seated next to him gets into the menstrual health issue, how is that boy available and knowledgeable enough to support this girl without shouting, laughing, pointing fingers? So instilling those integrity in the children at a young age will definitely make them even better fathers in future when they grow up, will make them better colleagues in schools, will make them supportive brothers and sisters to whether they are cousins or the girls in the neighborhood. So the conversation with them on how to deal with their female counterparts in school and outside school should be started as soon as you start to do the other conversations with the boy children. So what I can tell to the caller or the person who sent in the text is, let her start talking to the boys about these issues, because out there they are interfacing with girls and they need to know how to support and respect girls in such times.
Okay. Hope?
Apart from talking to the boys about menstruation, they also need to understand the dangers that comes with becoming fathers at the age of 13. So, dear mother, talk to your sons that while he interacts with girls at school and in the neighborhood, if these girls have started their periods and they are sleeping around with them, they could get these girls pregnant. And then let's talk about how ready is that boy ready to be a father at the age of 13 or 14. So conversations with boys is not only about, give the girl a sweater when they stain their dress or, don't laugh at them. Let's also understand that they have an impact if they directly ignore the fact that menstruating girls actually become pregnant when they have sex. So that conversation is very important, and all mothers of boys, please take it upon yourself. Don't say that my boys don't menstruate, but also apart from talking about menstruation with the boys, I think I've interacted with boys who also have issues with puberty. Because sometimes we think if it's adolescent, we are concentrating on menstruation and pregnancy. But there are boys who are struggling with the voice, breaking the voice, the wet dreams. All those issues need to be talked about. So while we are here talking about the girl child and menstruation, if you are a mother of boys, my friend is here, let's talk to the boys about the puberty signs and support them in that journey. It's a big issue. I dealt with a boy who was trying to really, when the voice is breaking, he said, I'm in pain, And sometimes there are things we don't think about. We think, the voice will change, and then you let it be. But they need to be guided, and we need to learn to read about it and see if this is the stage they are on. How do we support them? Not to feel like you care about the girls, but no one is talking about what I'm going through. Thank you.
Interesting. Jacqueline?
Yes, Amon.
Any concerns? How do you address some of these things, especially for those raised by our listeners?
I really appreciate UBC, Government of Uganda, for giving us such spaces to sensitize communities. And for all those that have tuned in, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the questions. Allow me mention that if you went on our website as Concern for the Girl Child, you will find that we have offered SRH information and trainings to over 2,416 people. This is authentic, very authentic numbers. And how do we do this? We, like earlier on said, we do not do it only for the girl child. I have very many friends inboxing me right now and asking, you're talking about concern for the girl child, what about the boy child? Friends, remember, like earlier on mentioned, that at Concern for the Girl Child, we work in partnerships. For now, our mandate is the girl child. And because of the raising the raising demand for the boy child, we have chosen to involve partners. When we go to these schools and have this number of 2,000 just for this year, which is not yet halfway, we don't do these talks for only the girls. We have boys brought on board. And then we also educate the girls. Someone asked about hygiene. If hygiene is not well tended to, what are the repercussions? Yes, the repercussions are there. You're going to get UTIs. These are urinary tract infections for the girls. Those are going to come. And when you use dirty rags, leaves, or old cloth without proper washing, this increases the risk of bacteria infections. But also reusing unclean reusable pads or wearing pads for too long also fosters fungal and bacteria growth. You realize that also there are skin irritations and rashes if you do not tend your hygiene very well. Poor hygiene can lead to itches, rashes, even sores. You're going to begin to see this young girl walk in a dynamic way just because they did not tend their hygiene well. You're going to get bad odor, and this will embarrass you. So little girl, little parent, little partner our dear partners that are listening in, let us sensitize people about this. It is going to cause embarrassment. Inadequate washing or lack of access to soap and water may cause body odor, leading to bullying or even teasing. So you're also going to miss schools. These are some of the issues. If you realize that girls often stay home during menstrual periods, menstrual time, due to lack of clean private toilets or sanitary pads. The wash part of this story sometimes is not taken care of. But I want to say that at CGC we are very intentional. We have the wash aspect, water and sanitation hygiene. We drill boreholes within schools to make sure that the community, the girls, access water with ease to avoid these mishaps that come with untended hygiene. Also allow me to say that improvised and unsafe menstrual materials, these, if you improvise unsafe ones, it is going to be very unhygienic for you and harmful to the body, especially without access to clean water. There's also inadequate waste proposal. If you do not tend that part, you're going to have, I like it. The other day, one of my colleagues was telling me that while they grew up, their parents told them that if a dog ever lands on your menstrual blood, you will never give birth. So I told her, oh, that seems a lie, no biological link to that. But then such things used to work for us. You talked about village schools, and I want to say I am a product of UPE. I'm a product of UPE, and I proudly attended Namonsi Primary School in Bali. At the time UPE was introduced, the program was very, very, very proactive, intentional. People embraced it at the time with a lot of zeal and thought it would work, and government monitored strictly. But like Amon, the monitoring tool of the government, the monitoring arm of the government is weak when it comes to its programs. So that program was good because the parent was saved and they could easily provide materials, menstrual hygiene materials for their children. But over the years, that program lacks proper M&E. Okay. Yeah, and many more. Thank you.
Okay, so very many messages still coming in. How safe are reusable pads? But also when we talk about hygiene, the ladies need to know that this is a hard talk and they should become so real, and also address things to do with menstrual hygiene, and tell our young girls that it is not safe to use the same knicker frequently throughout, and they need to clean themselves at least thrice a day. They need to be bathing all the time and keeping themselves safe and sound. And okay, it is a long message there. Well, someone also says that yes, I think I had read this message. How safe are reusable pads? And also someone brings in something interesting. Is Andre here? What a myth surrounding menstruation, if you can share. Because personally I've heard that if you have sex, it will reduce on the cramps. How true is that? You're live on UBC?
Hello.
You're live on UBC.
Oh, good morning.
A very good morning to you. Your name and where you're calling us from?
I'm coming from Koboko.
Koboko. Your name, please?
Yeah. My name is called Coletta Sunday Tracy.
Okay.
I'm a girl of primary 7.
Okay.
I'm so interested in this first topic. It has been a good topic. The problem I see most of the challenges people are facing in life, most of us teenagers, there's no support. Like the girls in schools who do not know about menstruation, they don't know anything about it. But I was thinking if like there's a committee that will come up and help like the girls in schools, it will be very interesting, because there are some girls you find them crying just because they know no information about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so
how old are you?
I'm 13 years old.
Oh, interesting. Which school are you in?
I'm in Eden Primary. Thank you so much. I'll be happy if you guys support us girls.
Okay. Thank you so very much. Oh, I'm glad that we are really addressing the real issue here and addressing to the right persons and right people. Oh, thank you so very much. And the school, we really thank you for embracing and raising such powerful children. I had talked about this that be established in schools. How important is that and significant, but also how realistic is it, Immaculate? And I will come to you, Hope and Jacqueline, especially about the myth.
So thank you. And this girl that's just called in really touched my heart, and thank you for listening in from all the way from Koboko and sharing the challenges. And what she shares is not just in Koboko, it is everywhere, and every girl in school, whether in urban or in rural, girls cry when it is this time, not prepared to see how to support. I remember when I was growing up, we used to have what we called health clubs. And can we reintroduce these health clubs in school? In some schools, they could be there. In others, they may not be. Maybe Concern will tell us they are closely in schools. But let administrations of different schools have these health clubs. And health clubs used to have peers and teachers and matrons for those who are in boarding, so that a child knows the clubs will help in shaping and sharing of information around the menstrual hygiene, around the different health challenges girls face. We need to invest again in these efforts so that our children in school know where to run to when they face some of these challenges. So it is indeed very critical. So as we start the talks in the homes, the schools, like every call and all of us are saying, it's where our children are spending most of the time. How we need to support these schools to have these initiatives that enable the children to focus on academics when they know the other social and health needs can be dealt with in a different corner within the school settings. Yeah.
Interesting. Hope, the myth around menstruation.
Thank you.
Early sex, reducing cramps, warm water placed on your stomach, reducing cramps, Coca-Cola, warm water, and so very many things. Taking some herbs. If we can help you understand that there are also young girls listening to this program, we'd believe that we'll be really helping them to understand that this is a myth This is right. This is true or false?
Okay. So for starters, it is a myth. It is not true that when you have sex, your painful periods will actually stop. It's a big lie. So dear girls, don't be deceived. It's also not true that when you sleep with a boy, if you are spending 7 days in your periods, they will reduce to 2. I also met, yes, in one of the schools, the girl came and said, my friend told me that if I get a boyfriend and we have sex, I will no longer spend 7 days. They reduce to 2 or 3. But I don't have a boyfriend. So her issue now was, how do I get a boyfriend? Meaning she has already accepted that works. So dear girls, that is not true. We are different. Our bodies are created differently. We are all created differently in the image of God. So some people spend 2 days, others spend 7. I have also met those who spend 10 days. And they spend the 10 days every month. So nothing like sex or whatever will reduce the days. That's not true. 2, there's a myth where people think that all girls have the 28 days cycle. That is not true. There are people who have go up to 32 to 30. So don't be there. That's why some girls will say, I have missed my periods. I didn't sleep with any man. But where are my periods now? Because to them, they feel if I went in on 4th of this month, next month it has to be 4th. If it's not, then I'm pregnant. That is not true. The cycles are different for different people. So that's also something to take note of. And talking about 28 days reminds me that we are celebrating the International Menstrual Hygiene Day this month on 28th May. And the reason why this date was set is because average days for spending in the periods are 5, which stands for May, and then the cycle that is standard is 28. So next week on Wednesday, the government of Uganda, led by the Ministry of Education, is putting together the national event that is bringing together different young people from different schools to learn more information, to listen to many other different stakeholders, and see how we all as a country stand with one voice to advocate for proper menstrual hygiene for girls and ensure that every girl is able to access education. There's a myth on exercises. When some girls in their periods are told that you can't do an exercises or go for football or netball because you're bleeding. No, that is not true. Actually, exercises help you to deal with the pain because they help your blood to dissolve. Cramps come as a result of blood coming out in blocks. So when you hear about taking warm water or having a warm water bottle, putting it on your abdomen, you're helping your blood to actually dissolve and come out gently so that you don't feel the stomach pain. So exercise in the same way, it helps you actually to help you with the painful periods. So don't be told that you can't exercise when you're in your periods. And then there are also a myth about menstrual blood being very dirty blood. That is not true. It is normal blood like any other. If you cut on your finger or fell and get a wound, it is normal blood. It's not dirty. You are still a very perfect human being. And last but not least is the fact that some people think that when you are in your periods, you are like, you're about to die, like blood is coming out of you. You are very delicate. Actually, the total amount of blood that comes out of a woman in their periods is between 2 to 6 teaspoons, tablespoons. So it's not a lot of blood that is running out of you. It just comes out in a slow motion. And the 2 to 6 also ranges from the days that you spend in your periods. If you spend 2 days, you can't get out 6 spoons. So it is a little blood that comes out, and your body is supposed to continue running the same way it runs when you're not in your period. So do not feel like, oh, I'm so delicate, I'm in my P's, so I can't do this, I can't do that. We want you to understand that period is normal, and you can actually do everything else while your period is also happening. I think those are some of the myths that I would love to share. But also the families who think that if a girl is bleeding, they should not cook food, they should not prepare anything for visitors. Please stop. This is just menstruation, and it's just it's for a few days, and for just a few days, and then it is still a normal person. They can cook food and you eat it because they have washed themselves, they have padded themselves, they are now clean, and they can cook and actually serve food. So stop telling girls that if you're in your periods, don't come to church, don't go to the kitchen. That is wrong, and it's stigmatizing. Thank you.
There is a concern that we have not addressed. Is it how safe are reusable pads? If Jacqueline, you can address that.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Amon. Before that, allow me appreciate the child that called in. And as Hope was talking about the national coalition that is organizing the day on 28th, come Wednesday, allow me tell you that we have child participation, a platform where we belong. We must have the children give their voice. We are working in partnership with the UCRNN, Uganda Children's Rights NGO Network, and Trailblazers to make sure that we have children around the country have their voice echoed on that day. So it's not us, the big people, that are going to speak and blabber, but the children are also involved as well. Also, allow me say that we are throwing this responsibility mostly to schools, parents, and CSOs and government. We've left out one major partner, and that is the church. The church has a big audience, a big hearing. Church leaders out there that could have joined in, both the lay people and the clergy. Kindly let us embrace this, and you could even slot into your sermon and talk about 28th of May and sensitize, have someone to sensitize your community, because you have such a big following, you have such a rich platform to do this. On this note, I appreciate my church leaders. We had recently concluded youth conference where we're handling all these topics. So churches, we can emulate this. I know we all have programs in line with that. Those that are doing it, don't give up. Let's continue. Kindly remind me, Amon, of that question. Reusable sanitary.
Yes, reusable pads.
I have had experience working with both the up-end privileged children and the bottom-end unprivileged children. I will paint a scenario of a child in the slums. The slums where we have a setting of one room being shared by 10 family members, and this one room is neighboring a number of different rooms that are equally shared by different families. And of course, know that in some of these slums, we do not have bathrooms. We do the showering on the verandas. Our drainage systems are equally very poor. And the reusable sanitary pads need exposure sometimes to sunlight for proper drying. You need ample water to wash this pad. Now, for someone living in such a condition where a jerrycan of water can go as high as 500 shillings. The other time I was engaging with such communities, and they told me water of 200 and 100 ceased to be long ago. So you get a jerrycan of water, you know how much water that pad consumes for it to be really, really clean. And you have like 3 girls in this home. Where are they going to expose? It's a situation I have painted. I have worked in such communities and found it a challenge to have the girls use those reusables. But in spaces where all these are not, where we have ample space in our houses, like in the villages where you have privacy, there's no family next in 1 meter that is going to look at your privacy and interfere. These pads are very essential, and they can do a good job. So it is a win-win, two-way.
Okay. Immaculate, we are talking about this, but it seems there is a big percentage of Ugandans we are not addressing, especially those that are in rural settings, that rural areas. Most of these privileges, most of the NGOs, most of these projects are benefiting the urban dwellers. How can those who are in far like Koboko, like a child that just called in, and so very many others at the border of this country have justice? Because these schools sometimes are not providing some safe spaces, and people are just dying in silence. How can they get justice?
So thank you, and that's why we are calling for equity for all, and that's why we say justice for all, and that means that at all levels, people should be able to access resources as they should be. If someone can access running water, where I come from in Kanungu, recently we got running water, but for a very long time we didn't have running water, and that means the girl, and you know the settings how it is usually girls who run to fetch water as the boys are looking after cattle. So in a situation where people don't have equal resources, equal access to resources, let it be water, let it be other essentials that need to support this girl be able to take care of her menstrual hygiene, then it becomes a challenge for us as a government, that we still need to invest so much to ensure that everyone is able to access resources. If a girl can access a nika and is not able to get a pad, it remains an unjust act for the country. If we bring all these initiatives that are targeting women, and we know when women get economically empowered, then the all the investment goes back to the children and the family. Could we have our parents, our women, our girls, initiatives that target girls in our what we usually call rural communities? I'm very uncomfortable because I think we don't have rural communities. We need to go back to where we came from, because we all came from these communities that we call rural, and invest there and make sure that people are equally accessing these resources. Once we have families that are empowered, families that are able to get something to run with and put food and have extra to acquire some of essential commodities like pads, then we would have done justice for this country. So yes, for me, it is government should have, when these initiatives come that are targeting our women, that are targeting girls, let the initiatives go to the people that need it. We've seen GROW, and if you follow the conversations around GROW program that Ministry of Gender is running, how many women have access to this money through the bank? And in most cases, it's because of the different requirements that are put in place that women cannot afford, that women cannot get these requirements and take to the bank and be able to access loans, grow their small businesses so that they are able to acquire pads and knickers for their daughter. So just should be at all levels and for everybody, and this should start with us at government level and us who are in the place of leadership and position. Thank you.
Interesting. Time is not on our side, but we still have a lot really to address, especially someone raising a concern here. Is it normal for someone to have periods twice a month? Hope, what is your answer to that?
Yeah, it happens with some girls and some women, but sometimes we always encourage them to visit gynecologists for a view of the doctor, so that they can understand how their hormones are working in their bodies and try to balance them. But it's supposed to be once a month under normal circumstances. So if you are going in your periods twice a month, it would be good that you take it upon yourself to visit a physician or a gynecologist and explain to them so they can help to balance your hormones. Thank you.
Interesting. I would request for the way forward from all of us. What are the solutions to all these questions that are raising, and where do we see ourselves in the next generation, 10 to 20 years from today? What initiatives do we need now? What projects do we need? What programs do we need? Which policies can we introduce? Which people do we need on our course to address this and front this, to make sure that we are on the same page as the people of Uganda, helping a girl child to walk with their heads high? Hope, Wimbawazi, then I will end with the Immaculate.
Thank you. Thank you, Amon. Allow me say that, having 64% of the girls miss schools because of menstrual health is absurd for us as a statistic provided in January this year. And what does this mean to each one of us? It is not going to be, like I earlier on said, it's not going to be just the government work, it's not going to be the CSOs alone, it's not going to be the parent alone. It is combined effort. Combined effort, wherever you are, whether female or male, let us join effort to make sure that the girls are safe. The girls are proud to enjoy their natural growth. The women around you are not embarrassed because of their nature. It is nature we need to embrace here. Allow me say that we can normalize periods through education. Let us educate, teach menstrual health openly in schools. Let us include boys in this conversation. If we can have them champion the safety of their sisters in schools, we shall have moved a big stride. Let us be intentional to provide free or affordable menstrual products. My cry still goes out to the government, even when we said our budget is limited, lean. We can be intentional and provide, just like CGC I told you is intentional, to make sure that we look for resources everywhere to make sure that we provide sanitary towels for the girls. Ensure every school has access to pads or reusable alternatives. Support community pad making initiatives. We have NGOs that are doing this. Can we support them? The other important thing we are going to embark on is improve school wash facilities. Please join us in this move. We already, like I told you, as Concern for the Girl Child, we already are doing this in our catchment area. Please join us. Let us sensitize masses on water and sanitation hygiene. But if you can incorporate in your programming an element of drilling boreholes, having access to running water, please let us do it. And to each one of you that is listening to me, it is your duty.
Okay. Thank you so very much. Hope then Immaculate will sum it all.
Thank you so much. For me, I think going forward, it's important that everyone, everywhere, takes it upon themselves to support a girl in their family, in their community, to menstruate with dignity. This comes with education. You could talk to this girl about what to expect when their periods start, but also how to manage. If they can't manage sanitary pads and you actually have some extras, please get into a habit of supporting those that need the support. Sometimes it's the little things we do to our friends that make the biggest impact in their lives. Let's embrace doing good and support those that need our support so intentionally. Let us also intentionally do parenting programs and support parents to help their children, because sometimes it's difficult to just sit your child down and say, look here, menstruation is coming. They need to be taken into a series of dialogues and capacity building to understand that actually talking to your child as a parent is the right way to go, so that children do not hear strange statements from friends at school or neighbors, and then they get misled with that wrong information. So parents must be at the forefront of educating their daughters on what to expect when they start their periods and how to manage periods responsibly. But most importantly, let us reach out to as many schools as possible. I want to really applaud all the NGOs that are doing work on menstrual hygiene. Sometimes teachers at school do a lot of work. They're expected to do a lot of work to actually meet their goals as teachers. So if these NGOs were not coming through to support the girls, I think would be in a bad shape. So I want to appreciate the NGOs that are supporting girls, especially in the area of menstrual hygiene, but also working directly and closely with the government and the Ministry of Education. It's important to note that the Ministry of Education has been intentional and has set out guidelines to follow for each school out there, what they need to have in place to ensure that every girl is able to be safe in school and actually excel in school, but also intentionally managing menstruation. Let us support these efforts by coming together as partners and being able to front the campaign to end menstrual stigma. When we say where do we want to be in 5 years to come or 10 years to come, if we embrace partnerships today and work together and avoid working in cycles, I'm in this school today, tomorrow concern is coming in the same school, supporting exactly the same children I supported yesterday. That needs to stop. We need to work in partnerships and reach out to communities that have never seen any partners visiting them. There are many schools that have never seen any NGO coming to them. So when we work in partnerships, we are able to identify these schools and select ourselves and distribute ourselves to go to a wider place in the rural communities, so that the statistics we read here that these girls are missing school because of periods, tomorrow they will have come down because most schools would have met us and listened to this message. And as I actually wind up properly, I really want to wish everyone a happy International Menstrual Hygiene Day happening on 28th of May. May you choose to be the change that you want to see in the world. Thank you.
Interesting. Thank you so very much, Immaculate.
Yes, so thank you, Amon, for hosting us and all the listeners out there. My concluding remark is not so different from what others have said, but what I can add is let's have what we call community ownership. It is everybody's responsibility to ensure that we end period-related stigma. And whether you're a man, a boy, a girl, or a mother, a father, everyone, it is our responsibility to make sure that the environment, whether at school and in school, is safe and conducive for every girl child that is going through menstrual period. Then secondly, I said at the start that I come again from the health sector, and I wish we could pick learning from what is happening in the health. As a country, we are going into what we call integration. Integration is making sure that services are in one place for everybody. So could we have this kind of integration where we see Ministry of Health working closely with the Ministry of Education and ensuring that when we are budgeting, I'll go back to the issue of budgeting and making sure we have money for sanitary, to make sure that this is taken not only as a health issue but education issue, and then they come together and come up with a small budget that will help schools to have emergency sanitary pads within the school settings. Then again, my call on government is let's have candid discussions on reducing taxes on sanitary pads. It is possible. We have local manufacturers. We can start with those and reduce taxes from our own people who are making these reusable. She talked about community initiatives, but when they go to sell them, at what price are they selling? Can we reduce taxes on this incentive, on the local manufacturers of sanitary pads? So as I conclude, for us at Center for Women Justice Uganda, on 28th we will be in Kasengeje, that is in Wakiso district, and we are launching this community-owned initiative, bringing together local leaders, church leaders, cultural leaders, schools, administrators that are coming together to launch that emergency pad box corner, where we shall put that corner. And we hope that other schools can pick learning and take it up. So we call all those who are willing to join us in Kasenge on 28th. That is on Wednesday this week. Thank you.
Most welcome, and that brings us to the end of our conversation. I want to thank you, ladies, for availing yourselves to come and educate and also inspire many Ugandans outside there on our UBC Ground 0 and 5 radio stations that cover this program, and also those who are part of us on the other platforms like YouTube. As we come to the end of today's important discussion, we want to thank each and every listener who has been part of us from the time we started, and for those who really participated and shared your perspectives. We can't take that for granted, and we indeed shared a number of insights and practical solutions that are very much important and significant in the cause. And it is clear that promoting menstrual health and dignity in schools is not just a hygiene issue, it is about justice. We had a lawyer, it is about equality, it is about education, as we have had two teachers sharing their experiences with that, and also a lawyer also sharing that it is part of the human rights concern. We have heard about the realities girls face, but also from stigma, silence, and a lack of basic supplies and safe spaces that we need to really create as schools and all the other stakeholders, or at home or even in our communities. But we also heard about working it is very important that we work very hard to make sure that we raise better girls and better generation. And also I want to thank you, Immaculate Omucha is the Executive Director, Center for Women Justice. Nankunda Hope Mwiruka is the Executive Director, Raising Teenagers Uganda. And Jacqueline Hope Wembabazi, Programs Manager, Concern for Girl Child Uganda. You have really educated and also laid a break on the foundation that we want to lay as a country and also as a continent, Africa. Takeaway is clear: when you provide accurate information and access to menstrual health products, support schools, environments, and also policies that prioritize girls' health and dignity, we unlock their full potential. Let us live not only informed but also inspired. Keep advocating, educating, and working together, because every girl deserves to manage her period with dignity, without fear or shame or any other barriers. I want to thank you for being part of this conversation. Together we can build a better Uganda where no girls or even a girl or boy is left behind simply because of their health issues. And when it comes to girls, her periods. For God and my country, that brings us to the end of our discussion and also the end of UBC Ground Zero. Until next Saturday, same station and same time. For God and my country, Ampaire, Amon, Buteega, Alamin, outside out. Shalom.
That was Ground Zero Season 2, a production of Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
At UBC Radio, all our radio network across the country is committed to inform, entertain, educate, and guide for national transformation.
On radio, UBC should set its own example. Leka bano abatafa ku bantu baffe bagumaza ndowooza muganda kito okugumaza to divert people. Let our own UBC bring programs to educate the people so that abagala kugumaza babeereyo bagumaza naye naffe they can advise, guide. And people in time will judge the one who is their friend and who is just using them.
Tune into UBC Radios for credible socio-economic programs. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
It's hot.
We lost it. We didn't know exactly what the problem was on the ground. There is no pretending about the effect of this thing. There's no pretending about it. Nobody should. It's a problem.
It's balanced.
This is not the stage at which you start planning to tax a commodity like coffee, especially from down there.
It's intellectually engaging.
The Constitution provides that the land must be registered under the custodial tenure system, which is one of those that's recognized by the Constitution.
Ground Zero Season 2, live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Don't miss UBC Radio Ground Zero every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We host credible and relevant guests to discuss pertinent issues of national importance aimed at addressing people's concerns. UBC Radio Ground Zero, right here on UBC Radio.
On UBC Radio. The hits just keep on coming.
Kana misifa shangini If you want to touch my body,
More hits on UBC Radio.
Your music.
On UBC Radio, we play music of your choice day in, day out.
We got more hits for you, so stay tuned.
24/7. Listen to UBC radio shows right here, right now.
The biggest concern now is the quality of education. That is what is bothering us so much.
Addressing Uganda's governance issues.
Incidentally, there is now a new trend. There is more land wrangles in families than Vivanja land title holders.
Monday to Friday at 7 p.m.
With this integration of East African community, we must work hard so that we benefit.
Your Voice Talk Show, only on UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
Every Saturday,